There are people out there in the world that you may interact with, that when you do talk to them, when you do engage with them, you just feel like they're not exactly there. You're talking to them, you're asking them questions, but they just aren't there. You don't know exactly how to describe it, but they're sort of just not there. They're just AFK. And this is especially in people who you're talking to and they're still on their phone. Like, try talking to someone who is on their laptop or on their phone. The conversation is not going to be good at all. Like, it isn't, because they're not present. They're not entirely focused on you. Rather, you're simply like an offshoot, right? And the thing is, when this does happen, you almost feel like disrespected in a way. You want someone to be present with you, to actually pay attention to what you're saying. But for some people, this mode of being is simply natural. Like, they simply cannot interact with you unless they're doing something else at the same time. Like, they can't focus their entire being on you, on the conversation. They have to be doing something else. Their ability to focus is so degenerated. It's these people who can't be present, who are AFK in life, who will live very poor lives. And I was reminded of this when I stopped meditating for just a couple of days, just like 2 or 3 days. I was reminded of this, and just wow, like, the difference I felt was stark. When this happened, when I stopped meditating for a couple of days, what ended up happening was I was more impulsive. I was less productive. I had less restraint on myself. It was like the control that I had over my body, it was like something else had greater control over me than I did. And that something else is the natural tendencies. And it felt increasingly like I was a mindless zombie. Now, I wasn't completely a mindless zombie, but I was pretty damn close, because at that time I was doing every single whim I had. There was no like recalculation, like there's no like thinking about, do I really want this? There's no restraint. And when I thought about that, I thought that this is the natural state for the majority of people. And when I thought about that, I just thought, I would not want to live like this ever again. It's like knowing the difference when you actually get enough sleep versus you don't. It's like when you don't get enough sleep, you don't know that the world can get any better. But when you do, it's like a night and day difference that you would never go back. It's like one of those realizations. And certainly, a few years ago, I would have told you that, I didn't really experience anything different. I meditate, and nothing seems to have changed. But that was because I didn't go back to not meditating for more than a day. Until recently, I've never stopped meditating, even on vacation, for more than 1 day. The most I missed was just 1 day, consecutively. Right? But this time, I missed like 2 or 3 days, and the difference. But now there are times when I am on a time crunch, and yet I will still not forfeit my meditation, because I know it will influence my entire day. It will make or break my entire day. Why? Let's say that you are just 10% more impulsive. Just that. Not anything else. That means that you are much more likely to pursue every whim you have. Because a 10% increase in impulsivity means that you're 10% more likely to follow every desire that you get, right? And think about how many desires you have in a day. Hundreds, possibly, right? And if you end up going through with 10% more of them, just think about that. That can make or break your day. And so on to the topic of meditation. A lot of people get meditation wrong because they're simply misinformed about it. I think that a lot of people think that meditation is simply the act of not letting any thoughts into your mind, which is completely untrue. Meditation is the act of recentering your mind. It's not about getting rid of all distracting thought. Rather, it is getting those thoughts and then coming back to your center of focus. The act of meditation is simply refocusing yourself. Every time you get distracted, that is a chance to basically perform a rep of meditation. It's a chance to refocus yourself and to get better at it. That is what meditation is. And this ties into a lot of people that, when I tell them, you should give meditation a try. And then they reply, I tried, but it didn't really work for me. And the thing is, the perspective of that didn't work for me is simply that I had lots of distracting thoughts, when that's the entire purpose of meditation. The entire purpose is to get those thoughts and then to come back to your center of focus, no matter how much time it requires you to do so. I'm sure during some meditations I've just spiraled down a topic for 10 minutes and it's oh shoot, this is a distracting thought, and then I go back. It's yes, that's going to happen. Of course that's going to happen. But the point is to be able to refocus yourself. And so by doing this, by meditating, you're basically training yourself to be more motivated in a sense. You're training yourself to hold a thought in your mind, to focus your mind. It's the opposite of what's happening to you when you consume lots of TikToks, when you consume lots of YouTube shorts, when you consume lots and lots of Instagram posts and social media. You are reversing the damage that's being done to you. And you're reversing the AFK life that you're living right now.